Greetings, it's New Zealand naturopath Eric Bakker, author of Candida Crusher and formulator of the Candida range of dietary supplements. Thank you again so much for checking out my video today. I really appreciate all my loyal fans, patients and people that I know, practitioners, doctors, naturopaths, chiropractors. There are a lot of people now who look at my videos, and I really appreciate you checking out my channel. I've got a question here from a young guy in Canada, and his name is Josh. His name on YouTube is Pro Chess Player. Josh has been looking at a lot of my videos for some time, and thank you for your email, Josh. Really appreciate your email, and also thank you so much for giving me the awesome feedback on my Candida range of products that you've been using, on yourself and also on your mum there for a while. So thank you. Now, Josh's question relates basically to Candida, of course, and it is, can you explain the top 10 reasons why people don't or fail on the Candida diet? The 10 reasons why people don't fully recover on it. So I've done a video here and I've come up with 10 reasons, and I'm sure there are 100 reasons, but these are 10 common ones I see in my clinic that relate to patients. So let's just start off. Number one, thinking one little drink won't do too much harm. This is something I hear from a lot of people. So if you've got I'd say problem drinking, but if you drink quite regularly and you want to cut out, you need to bear in mind that alcohol has a very powerful effect on the digestive system. In fact, I believe that people who are serious about recovering from any kind of Candida, regardless whether it's a vaginal yeast infection or jock itch or a skin problem or like tinea, they may have toenail fungus, whatever kind of a yeast infection you've got. Even more so, if you've got SIBO, like small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, if you've got bloating, gas, IBS, IBD, constipation, no matter what kind of gut problem you've got, if you're not prepared to cut out drinking entirely for at least 6 months, it just ain't going to happen. You're not going to recover. I couldn't give a hoot what any doctor says, or what any professor says, or what any book says, or what any Google says. I couldn't give a hoot. Because, and why wouldn't I give a hoot? Because I see patients in my clinic every day now for nearly 30 years with these kind of problems. And I also see that they just don't recover fully unless they're committed to cutting out alcohol entirely for a long period of time. So the longer you've been sick for, the more you've got to understand this concept that you need to make a permanent long-term change in your diet and your lifestyle particularly. Think about why you want that drink, how you have the drink, under what circumstances, how often, the quantity, all those sort of things you need to think about. If you're really committed to good health, as they say, if you don't make time for health now, you make sure you have plenty of time for sickness down the track. So now's the time to make health. Now's the time to decide that one little drink is not a good idea if you want to recover. So, and the danger is when you partially recover and you're starting to think, I'm not feeling too bad. I might just go down the road and have a beer. Or, your friends will call you up, they've got a barbecue on. Or there's a party coming on, and you turn up at the party and there's wine all around the place, and bourbon and Coca-Cola and all this sort of junk, and then all of a sudden someone gives you a glass. So if you're in my room now and I gave you a glass of alcohol right now, you're going to look at it and think, I might have a sip of this. And that's how easy it is. It's very easy to drink alcohol. It's very easy to drink alcohol when you're starting to feel good. And of course, on the road to recovery, that's when it often occurs. So be very careful, okay, and be fully committed to a full recovery, which means a strict adherence to no alcohol, and not until you feel well, but until you feel well to the point where inside there's a big chance you're not going to aggravate. And the last thing I'll leave you with the alcohol thing is, you're the one who decides when he or she wants to have a drink, not people around you, not friends or family. You're in the driver's seat, okay? So this is not a religious sort of bashing alcohol, anti-alcohol bashing kind of a thing at all. It's got nothing to do with faith or belief or spirituality. This is purely to do with your gut microbiota, okay? You must not drink for a long time unless you want partial recovery and then relapse. Number two, throwing caution to the wind when you're dining out. Big mistake a lot of people make is when they go out eating. Now, going out eating, this could be again, in a family's house or at a friend's. It could be at a diner. It could be at a takeaway bar. It could be anywhere. It could be a picnic. So when you go out of your house eating somewhere, it's easy to make mistakes. It's easy to, again, throw caution to the wind, and then next thing your auntie or your sister-in-law says, come on, have this nice piece of apple pie. And forget that Candida crap. You haven't got this stupid infection. You're a hypochondriac. It's all in your head. Come on, just eat this pie and enjoy it with us. Stop being such a baby, you know. You know what I mean? So a situation like that could come up. And of course, you may feel bad or feel, you know, harbour thoughts where you think, well, you know, Auntie Thelma, I don't really want to offend Auntie Thelma. I better have that damn pie or something like that. So then you have the pie and then you feel bad later. Again, don't let people decide what's right for you. You decide what's right for you on your road to recovery, okay? You basically say, look, I don't really want the pie. You don't have to argue about it. If Auntie Thelma's got the problem, well, then it's her problem, not your problem, okay? So be careful when you eat out. And again, as you recover, it's easy to throw caution to the wind. Number 3, assuming you have to go 100% gluten-free and dairy-free. Not true. You don't have to go 100% gluten-free. Just because every blog site out there, everything, the Huffington Post and, you know, American Scientific and all these sites are saying that you should eat gluten-free. You don't have to eat gluten-free. It's not true. I really believe that gluten-free is like a religion today. It's almost like a belief system. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, okay? I've always been a fan of eating healthy, but I've never had extremist views about my diet, ever, and I never have or will with my patients either. So I believe that gluten is perfectly okay for some people, and it may not be okay for others, and it's toxic for a minority, okay? About 1 to 2% of the population are celiac. Now for them, gluten is actually poison, all right? Are you a celiac? Probably not. Are you gluten intolerant? Probably not. Do you have a disturbed gut? Probably. So remember, when you've got a disturbed gut microbiota, or you've got bacteria that aren't very good, you've got candida or parasites, you've got low beneficial bacteria, all those things may scream to you that you need to go off gluten. You may not need to go off gluten. I can tell you now, after seeing thousands of patients, people get sick and tired of being gluten-free. They hate it. Every label's got to be scrutinized. Every time they go out, every single package they purchase, they look for gluten this and gluten that. What a pain in the butt. There's a big chance you may not need to avoid gluten 100%. All right? Big chance. And how are you going to find out? If you want to go gluten-free, my view is cut right back on gluten to start with, like take all the bread out of your diet. But if you occasionally eat oats with gluten, oh goodness, you're not going to die of toxicity, are you? All right? If you're going to have a piece of sourdough bread with no yeast in it, and it's a good quality stone ground wholemeal flour, I don't think you're going to drop dead the following day. All right? And it's going to give a little bit of variety to your diet. You're going to enjoy it a lot more, your diet. You're going to maintain weight and energy and feel good about what you're eating. Remember, food's more than just stuff that you shove down here, okay? It's also, there's a huge psychological component to eating. You've got to feel good about your diet. It's got to smell good and taste good and look good. Huge part of food is enjoying food. How the hell can you enjoy gluten-free, dairy-free, this free, that free, kosher and halal and all this sort of stuff? And goodness, I mean, you'd be down to 5 foods. You'd actually develop anxiety disorder about what you're eating, which a degree of my patients actually have. They actually develop serious anxiety about what they eat. Not a good way to live, is it? So, and remember also, the sickest patients I've got have got the best diets, the best, and they're still sick. They've been gluten-free for 10 years and they look like crap. They look grey in the face, they look sick. Oh, but I'm eating all this and I'm eating all that and everything's so good that they're eating. Then why are they so sick all the time? So, and we'll talk about another point later, that there's a lot more to Candida diet than just food, okay? Dairy-free as well. Now, dairy is a different kettle of fish, okay, because you've got much more of a chance of having an allergy towards beta-casein, or one of the primary proteins in dairy. Gluten allergy is not that common. After looking at many thousands of different food allergy reports, I'm not convinced that gluten is anywhere near as allergenic as cow's milk. Cow's milk is the most allergy forming of all foods or drinks on the planet, period. All right, so you could have lactose intolerance or you could have a casein allergy, 2 different animals. Lactose intolerance will mean more diarrhea and bloating. The casein allergy will mean more, dairy-related allergies. So I'm not a fan of drinking cow's milk myself. I do love a little bit of cheese here or there, especially mozzarella cheese or parmesan, very high quality cheese. But apart from that, I'm not really into dairy. But again, your call. But don't be extremist with gluten. Please don't do it. 4. Assuming you have to eat 100% organic, biodynamic, certified this, certified that. It's not going to happen, guys. Come on. When you go out, you can't always be anal about every tiny little piece of food, where it's grown, how it's grown. We're starting to go back to the anxiety disorder again. Most people will tell you they eat certified organic, and they may eat it certified organic, but is it really helping them with their diet? I don't really believe it is. I grow a lot of my own food because I really enjoy the outdoor experience. I feel I'm doing something for me and my family, and I'm a gardener anyway. But I also buy a lot of vegetables and fruits from the farmers markets, good quality. Now, are they sprayed? I don't know. Do they have chemicals on them? I don't know. They look bloody good. They look healthy, they look clean. I'm not really that concerned about those sort of things. I look at life a bit differently perhaps than you do. Non-smoking, non-drinking, exercising, not using any sprays or toxins around the house. I do my part in remaining free from as many poisons as I can, but I'm not going to go to the extent of avoiding every bit of produce that may come from a place that's used a chemical. And the other stupid thing I want you to remember is a lot of these organic places can't stop people from spraying up the road or using some type of a poison that may have landed on their crop. What are you going to do? Grow it in a dome or something? I think you've got to wake up to the fact that it's very difficult, if not impossible, to eat 100% certified organic and biodynamic. It's possible, but I think, again, you're bordering a little bit towards the anxiety part. And remember what I said, the sickest people I've seen are the ones that tend to eat the healthiest, all right? And it's interesting how a lot of them stay sick for so long. So if occasionally produce creeps in that's non-organic, don't have a heart attack. Number 5, including high sugar fruits at the beginning or not cutting out enough fruits. And the other component to part 5, 5b, is eating high sugar starchy vegetables if you have severe candida. So let's explain both of these. So I've always been a believer that the best fruits to eat with candida are green apples. I was recommending green apples for candida 20 years ago before anyone talked about green apples with candida. And now every website says green apples. But a long, long time ago when I recommended green apples, the candida experts of the day said I was nuts, that all apples had to be avoided. But I knew from clinical experience that green apples were perfectly fine with patients. I knew that because it was the only fruit I could tolerate personally when I had bad candida over 20 years ago. And I started recommending to other people, and I started noticing that they could tolerate green apple. Pomegranate, usually fine. Avocado, perfectly fine with people with candida. Blueberries are the best berry to eat, but generally strawberries and boysenberries are okay. So these fruits are usually fine. I find kiwi fruit, I think you guys call it kiwi in America, kiwi fruit is often tolerated quite well by a lot of people. So that's another one that you could try out as well, is the kiwi. So be careful again about reintroducing fruits into the diet as you recover. It's a little bit like alcohol. Be careful. Wait till you recover increasingly, because fruit can be one of those problematic foods where people won't eat one orange or a mandarin in a day. They'll have 5 or 6, and then they'll create problems. So slow introduction when you feel better. High sugar veggies, starchy veggies. Be careful. If you've got seriously bad gut problem, you need to avoid pumpkin, squash, sweet potato, yes or no. I find sweet potato often tolerated by a lot of people, even with bad candida. They can tolerate these foods. Corn, sweet corn can be a problem for some people. Squash, pumpkin, potatoes, those sorts of things. Now, here's another interesting point you won't find on the internet. How the food is cooked or how the starch is modified can have a big effect on your tolerance. Baking pumpkin may be entirely different from pumpkin soup. Okay, frying or stir frying starchy vegetables may react differently from your gut than steaming or boiling it. So you need to try different ways of cooking a starchy vegetable to see if you can tolerate one way or another. Now we're coming back to the fruits. Different stages of ripeness will dictate how well you tolerate the fruit. A fruit that's ripe may have a higher sugar content than a fruit that's partially ripe. So again, play around with, and fruit can also be cooked. Don't forget, you can actually cook fruit. A lot of countries around the world actually cook fruits as part of their meal. I've got a really nice book called The Fruit Cookbook. It's got some fantastic recipes in it. A lot of people tell you that fruit needs to be eaten raw. Why? Who is the rule book? I mean, who are these kind of food police to tell you this sort of crap? You don't need to always believe other people, all right? So you need to believe what you want to believe, but be careful about believing what other people want you to believe. Keep an open mind always. Number 6, being extremist in your diet views and not flexible enough. Please don't be one of these extremely, full-on sort of focused person who really believes that their diet is the highway. All right, I've seen way too many people over the years with very powerful extremist views. It's almost like they've got this religious conviction that everything they eat that's not on the yes list is toxic to them. So, as you will see in a minute, diet alone will not cure Candida. In fact, it's a small part of recovery, and yet people tend to think that everything's about diet. Well, it's not. It's quite a stupid belief to think that everything you eat is going to seriously improve your health or make it sick. I've seen many patients over the years with very mediocre and bland diets in fantastic health, and people who don't eat organic, people who don't eat a wide variety of foods. Likewise, I've seen many people on the most amazing diets that are so sick and so toxic and so anxious that they can't even leave their house, and they eat the most incredible diet. So extreme views create extreme problems, all right? So when you start to believe, have this extremist point of view, you're digging a hole for yourself, and you're also alienating yourself from a lot of other people, all right? Number 7, thinking that your diet alone will cure your Candida. Well, this is absolutely not true. Diet, as I've written in my book, I believe personally, accounts for about 25% of recovery. 75% is the other stuff. This is the unseen stuff. This is the stuff, the iceberg under the water that you can't see. The tip on the top is the diet. The rest underneath is a lifestyle. All right. So I've made many videos. If you look at my channel on lifestyle and Candida, I've talked about stress and Candida. I've talked about exercise and Candida. Unless you lead a balanced lifestyle and understand the importance of sleep, exercise, really good relationships with people around you, understanding stress, having some understanding of adrenal and thyroid function and their role in immunity. All these concepts need to be learned to a degree if you want a full recovery. I've seen some patients who've been sick for 10, 20, 30 years recover in 6 months when they had the light bulb moment, when they found out what their problem was and they made changes. And all of a sudden, the obstacle to cure was removed and the body recovered, regardless of the diet. So don't be a person who's extremist thinking that the diet is the make or break all, because it ain't that way, okay? Now, I don't care what blog sites again tell you or so-called experts. This is my personal experience based on nearly 30 years of practice. Diet plays an important but a less important role in recovery than your environment and your lifestyle does. Number 8, failing to understand the relationship with stress, adrenal function, and digestion and recovery. So I don't think I'll talk too long on this point because it's quite a big point really to go into. That was good. There's a lot to talk about. I could do a whole 1-hour video just on one aspect of stress alone, but I want you to really understand there's a really big connection between the gut and the brain. There's a really big connection between stress, and particularly the autonomic nervous function that controls stress. There's a big relationship between that being balanced and recovery from Candida. The body has got its own inbuilt mechanism that can perfectly deal with pathogens, different kinds of yeast, different parasites, bacterial imbalances, inflammation. All these things can be controlled by the gut quite adequately. But remember that the brain controls the gut to a huge degree. All right? Check out my videos I've done on vagus nerve. I'm sure I've done some videos on the vagus nerve. That will explain about the gut-brain connection. When you understand this, you're going to know more than your medical doctor knows about recovery. All right? You don't need a magic wand to understand why you're not recovering. If you've got the best diet on the planet and you're not recovering, This is what you need to understand, is point 8. Failing to understand the relationship with stress, how your adrenals function to a degree, and digestion. Right? Try really and look at some videos I've completed around this topic, because this could be the big one for you. Right. Number 9, being the food police. What do I mean by being the food police? If you're in a relationship with somebody, is by looking at them and thinking that your diet's perfect. Why are you eating that for? Stop drinking that Coca-Cola. Put that chocolate bar away, it's going to kill you. So being the food police is trying to control other people's diets, friends or family around you, as well as controlling your own. Okay? Don't be a bully. Nobody likes bullies around the house. Don't bully other people. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Okay? Don't be one of these, I wouldn't say Bible bashing, I'll say Candida bashing people. Okay? Do you like it if someone comes around knocking on your door trying to convert the way you eat? You get sick and tired of them. You tell them to get lost. So don't become the food police. Don't think you can change other people. You have to change yourself first. And when you change yourself, other people will change. I learned that one a long time ago. Number 10, taking lots of dietary supplements along with your Candida diet in the hope of a quick 24-hour cure. Well, it ain't going to happen. Remember, check out my video, How to Cure Candida in 24 Hours. It's had a lot of views, a lot of peeved off people looking at it who felt they were switching bait. They felt they got ripped off with the title. You can't cure Candida in 24 hours. I've said this 100 times. Maybe I need to take off all my clothes and jump up and down on a table and do a video on this, because I really want to get the message out there. It's impossible to cure Candida quickly. It doesn't happen. You can't cure any disease. The body has to cure itself. The body has to correct the disorder that it's created, and it will do so by you giving it the right conditions. Plenty of fresh water, breathing properly, lots of rest, all these sorts of things need to occur. Supplements do help, but remember, supplements are a very small part of Candida recovery. I don't want people taking tons and tons of supplements. It's a waste of money and waste of time. You only need to take a very small few select supplements along with a carefully planned diet, and remember, lifestyle. As I said, 75% lifestyle, 25% diet, right? So supplements you take are a minority of treatment. You don't need to take any more generally than 2 or 3 supplements at the most. And some patients I see take boxes of stuff. They'll take 50, 60 supplements. Waste of money. Are they feeling any better? Have a look at the video I did. I think I did a video a while ago now on a lady who took about 65 dietary supplements in a day. And I can remember asking her how she felt, and she said, I feel like crap. Well, it was costing her about $4,000 a month, $3,000 to $4,000 a month for all these dietary supplements. So basically what I said to her was, have you got a garbage can? I said, bring it here, and let's throw them all in the garbage can and start again. So supplements are important for Candida, but I think I'd like you to look at quality and not quantity. Check out mycandida.com, okay? So I created a small range of really high quality products, perfectly designed for complementing this kind of an approach, which I believe is one of the best around for getting people well with any kind of digestive problem. So when you take a product to really cleanse the gut, you want something that's broad spectrum. I often get videos of people saying, I'm taking, 30 parts per million colloidal silver. How many teaspoons per day? Or I'm taking a garlic supplement. How many milligrams of standardized allicin should I take in this supplement? Or I'm taking undercyanic acid. Should I take 500 milligrams twice a day? So my reply to all of those people is, hang on a minute, why don't you take a broad spectrum product that's got all of this stuff in it? Because it's going to not just target the 19 different Candida species we commonly see in people. It's going to target about 50, 60 different kind of parasites we commonly see. It's going to target a whole lot of different species of yeast that we commonly see, because we see up to 400 species of yeast in people. It's going to target a lot of bad bacteria that are going in transition from good to bad. It's going to help to push them back to good. It's going to create the balance again. This is what you need, is a broad spectrum product. When you go out hunting, I don't go out hunting, but let's say you go out hunting and you want to shoot a duck down or a bird out of the sky. I think you're better off using a shotgun than you are a handgun. Would you agree? handgun's probably going to work, but you'd have to be damn good at aiming and know exactly what you're doing. But the shotgun is just point and shoot and you've got it. And that's what we call broad spectrum. It's going to work much easier than something with a very narrow focus. So the shotgun is my product called Candida Remove. It's got a very good broad spectrum action. It was based, I produced it after looking at thousands of stool tests and looking at the sensitivity panels to see what kind of natural medicines would best target all the pathogens I found in people's digestive system, and that's why I made that product. I think it's the only product of its kind on the market. It's broad spectrum. It takes a good couple of hours to break down in the body to release its contents. It's a tablet because I couldn't get everything I wanted into a capsule. I had to make a tablet, and it works very, very well. So you take generally 2 or 3 per day. The second product I made is called Candida Restore. Now I made that as an enzyme probiotic, and it perfectly complements the Remove. So the Remove and the Restore work well together. The Restore improves stomach function, pancreatic function, and duodenum function. So it improves the way that the digestive system works. It helps to break down food to a higher degree. Plus it contains the best probiotics in it that I could possibly find, and also the strains that I really wanted people to have with Candida. So the combination of these 2 products has a very good restorative effect on Candida. And when taken both together for a period of anywhere between 2 to 6 months, incredible improvements will occur when you apply the right kind of diet and lifestyle. So a long-winded reply, Josh. So I hope I've given you a good enough information on this video to really help you understand some of the mistakes that people make and the mistakes that you shouldn't be making. Thanks for tuning into my video today.